Right. Let's go through the volleyball training plan. So this is a 2-day plan. There'll be two total bodies. There's some strength and coordination training for the throwing arm and creating some interconnectedness with rotation. And then there's two speed, agility, quickness programming involved. So Sundays, let's go here. Like to utilize this again as a recovery day, and they're the same openers on all the days apply, and this is good for any throwing sport, any overhand sport. And I played college volleyball, so I have familiarity with the soreness that I experienced and how many swings I took in a week. But what we want to do is have a check-in. Your check-in are going to have 3 questions. These are very similar to other platforms that we have for different sports, with rating your sleep, rating how your throwing arm feels, which would be your hitting arm, your primary one anyway, and how your body feels. So these things that you're going to be having them in your face, that if you're not scoring well, this is just a good reminder for you that you're dropping a set on all exercises if they have multiple sets. If there is an exercise selected that's one set, just do half the reps. We're trying to give our body a little breather, still get a good workout in, and that's not considered a deload. This is a download. So we're basically just lowering the amount of volume here, but not changing too much in the way of intensity. So the next thing is your morning routine. Again, we got to build confidence. We have to have a process. In our handbook, there's our critical mindset packet. There's so many different options to go through to develop this. And we do have very strong mental performance coaches that work as consultants for RC13 Sports in pro sport, and they're great. I highly recommend beetroot juice. When athletes get a little bit older, and maybe they don't like the taste of the organic beetroot juice, there are supplements that are flavored and that are approved by MOB, that are NSF approved, that we offer at a discount. So that is also a possibility. And we have some disclaimers. If you're on blood thinners, be careful there. But like pitching in any overhand sport, you lose blood flow to your arm. It increases to a certain amount of volume, and then after that you start losing blood flow. And after your training and after you've had your practices or games, the blood flow can be actually 25% less than at rest, and that's a problem, because we have to recover all these tissues in the throwing arm that don't get a ton of blood, and we have a lot of coursework on that with armcare.com. There's some soft tissue care. We use different salves for the arm in preparation and directly afterwards and overnight. These are in here in case that you ever want to have them as part of your daily organizer. Some athletes, they use a Compex unit. They use some different technologies for neuromuscular electrical stimulation. There's a lot of options here, but it's good to have a reminder to have some pre-care done. And then here we get to the arm care testing. Preferably, it'd be nice to be done before practices, because that's going to scale the workloads or games. Just understanding where your overhand arm is at to scale volume, just much like a pitch count, like a throwing count. If you are really strong that day, you can get after it. If you're kind of in the middle, go kind of moderately. If you're starting to see some watches and a warning, like you got to go really light, because you lost a lot of muscle strength that you'll see in the training app. But what we want to do is evaluate your strength and make these changes in your program. And with this arm care pre-throw activation, you can utilize this for other sports, for volleyball, for any sport, to test. So if you don't do testing on your practice or game days, at least get a couple of them in a week that you can strap up the bands. And if you don't have access to getting your bands prepared, I would say to do an upper body warm up where you're at. And then before you get testing, I would do a couple reps at 50 or 60% in the test positions before you hit the start button, just to get the muscles ready. I know you could be indoors and not get an opportunity to strap a band somewhere and do a full arm care warm up. Take the exam on those high intensity days. You can do the primer on other days that are just more lighter practices. If you wanted to get a benchmark on where your arm is at, the primer option is one of the exam features on the Arm Care app. Then, go through your pre-practice routine. Like, this is the next phase. I put in some throwing arm prep drills that I think would be really good to keep the shoulder joint loosened and relaxed. These are pendulum swings. And when you have the plyo ball, they can be used as a little bit of weight while you keep your arm loose, and they give a little bit of distraction where your shoulder joint gets a little bit more mobilized, and it makes my arm feel better, makes a lot of athletes feel better, as part of a routine. But definitely add whatever you need to in there. And then we have our soft tissue work with trigger points, foam rollers. This is something to do at the end of the day. We have a checkout. I really recommend the arm bike. You can get a lot of portable ones on Amazon that you can put up on a table. Real easy to use. Doing it after practices and games. Remember, I told you you're going to lose blood flow. You got to try to send blood back to the arm. This is a good place to do it. And then there's a volleyball checklist on the way out. If you did speed training, rate it. Lifted weights, rate it. If you had a practice or a game, rate it, so that we can get an idea over time of how intense things are for you, and hopefully we can scale it to meet the needs that we're not overworking. So this is a big key here. Okay. And then there's a post-training routine, and I know there's a lot to look at here, but if we can keep organized, we can develop these habits, we can accelerate performance. So, having a post-recovery shake, something in your body, within a half an hour of training, or, just hard work and to replenish. Again, there's another soft tissue care entry. We use this particular salve for the throwing arm. And then, checking body weight. I didn't mention that at the beginning, but getting your body weight checked in the morning. Try to have 2 bottles of water to get hydrated, and definitely you got this evening check to make sure that you've gained your water weight back. And then the evening routine, if you really have some soreness, cherry juice 2 hours before bed is great for melatonin boosting, and it's good for soreness, and inflammation. Just make sure you have no allergies to it or contraindications to take it. And then we have an overnight soft tissue care option. And then working on an evening gratitude or visualization, just going through, your day. If something didn't work out well, visualize it being positive, and make sure you're thankful for something. Obviously we have bad games, we underperform. Don't allow yourself to be in a negative mindset too long. It doesn't do good things for the body, and it affects your sleep. So, those are some important features. And then when we get to the training, each day has a theme. If you can't do day 1 on Tuesday, you got to do it on Monday, switch it. Or you got to put it on Wednesday, switch it. Just space a day between, okay? At least a day, but there's not a ton of training days, so you can move them around a little bit. But this one, again, we talked about the routines at the beginning, but now we get into some more customized arm training. I call this strength and coordination training. This is more custom. Biggest key here is you're going to do your throwing arm first, or your the swing arm, your primary serving arm first, and then your non-dominant arm. Don't share the load doing 2 at once, so that you can really concentrate the activation of one arm. Then there's a speed, agility, quickness training plan, and then you go through your activation for that. There'll be a warm-up always in these sections. Then some light acceleration based work. I know the courts are short, getting up to speed quickly, being reactive, quickness, those things are more on the scale for a volleyball player. Getting a good pre-training warm-up flow, getting into your total body lift. And then afterwards, there's a type of hybrid training, which are both arms. There might be a carry component. There's going to be a little different emphasis here. And then at the end, we go through on the training day another circulation and rapid response training exercise. It also helps to stabilize the shoulder. And we follow it up with range of motion. And then I just mentioned what you do afterwards. I know this is a big commitment in a training day. Do the best you can. If, time-wise, you got to do 1 set, that's fine. Getting something is better than doing nothing. And then you have your next one on day 2 on Thursday. We have something very similar in terms of the pattern, different exercises, different emphasis. Please be aware of the descriptions. So I have them in there for safety. And then, you'll have your SAQ session, speed, agility, quickness. And then you'll get into your total body lift, your hybrid afterwards, your rhythmic stabilization, range of motion, and then your endpoints. The only thing that I would note is we want to start getting some testing and integrating this in the training months. We have this at the end of the month here, towards the end of the month. I know this is around Christmas, so you can move this where you need to for the holidays. But with this, we have this RC13 machine. We want to scale your performance. We want to make you competitive at getting better at these things. And if you have a stopwatch, great to get a 10-yard time. If you have a laser, even better. So don't do the stopwatch if you have the laser and you can get a 10-yard sprint time. We're looking at 2-foot horizontal jumping and single leg, seeing if we have, pretty decent symmetry between. So we don't want to have asymmetries. So this is something that we see a lot in baseball, that the landing leg, let's say I'm a righty, can be sometimes much more powerful than the drive leg, and that reduces speed into foot contact. So we want to be able to balance these things in a sport that's a jumping sport like volleyball, where you have to be on one leg. You want to be powerful enough, obviously to get over the net, provide blocks, So and there's a lot more multi-direction there, and then you get into your lift on that day, and what we have in previous days with range of motion. So thanks for tuning in. Excited for this season and making a great start into your athletic development and injury prevention. Thanks.